Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers. Now, I got a good one for you guys today. Not only do I have a new set of data that I think you guys are going to love as it pertains to income growth versus home price growth. This is going to be crazy. We're going to take a look at that from a 10-year aspect, a 5-year aspect, and a 1-year aspect. And I'm going to show you guys prices are going to go down. In fact, in this video, I'm going to show you guys that prices are already going down and we're still in spring home buying season. And not only that, I'm going to show you guys a new to this channel leading indicator of recession by looking at U3 and U6 unemployment. In other words, guys, I hope you enjoy this video. I put a huge amount of time and effort and heart into it to try to help explain to you guys what's going on right now and the fact that we really can't trust any data. We really got to have boots on the ground. We have to have multiple triangulation of data providers to figure out what's going on. But what really matters to me personally is that you guys are learning, you guys are empowering, and preferably you guys are on the sideline having patience, working on your purchasing power so that on the other side of this thing, you guys become winners and get the home of your dreams. And that's what I want for you. So in other words, guys, I'm a little excited about this video. And if you get any value from this video, can you please like the video? It really helps out my channel. If you also need any help for commercial, not residential, I got out of the business, but if you need any help with commercial financing, please fill out the application in my description and send that bad boy over to me and let me see if I can help you. But either way, you guys, I'm super excited about this video because again, we have more leading indicators and we have a new set of data. But where I'm going to start is let's jump into Black Knight's updated foreclosure information. And remember, Black Knight, they don't have everything and they don't put the forbearance, the people that are in forbearance, they don't put them in the foreclosure information. So this information is tainted and it's missing information. But again, it's a big part of the pie. So let's see what this part of the pie looks like and taste like. But I'm going to tell you guys, it tastes like poo-poo. Don't taste it. I'll taste it for you. All right, guys, so I'm not 100% sure if that was funny, but we're going to start on the first line right here. This is the chart that Black Knight issues once a month that tells us what's going on in the foreclosure market. But again, you guys, this doesn't have all the data. The true delinquency rate right now is more like 4%. But again, they're keeping data off of this information. Again, the delinquency rate is around 4%, which is interesting because it matches unemployment. Unemployment is also 4%. Unemployment and defaults for mortgages actually kind of go hand in hand. Put an overlay and you'll see that yourself. But right now, you guys, the delinquency rate is historically low. According to this information, at 3.09%. That's a month-over-month change of 3.28%. So a small drop month over month, a 6.6 drop year over year. So just looking at this data, again, looking at this data, things seem fine. Seems like there's no problem at all. But that's not true. All right. You can't see what's going on by just looking at this information. And remember, the crisis with foreclosures usually happens after recession. So it makes sense that we don't have a crisis right now because we are not in a technical massive unemployment recession. Yeah, we're losing full-time jobs like crazy, but those are being replaced by part-time jobs and government jobs. So there's still an ability to make money, whereas in the GFC, that ability was gone. Now, as far as total U.S. foreclosure inventory, that's 0.37%. That is down month over month at 3.3. That is down year over year at 16.42. Now, the total foreclosure starts, another 26,000 families have started the foreclosure process. That is still down slightly month over month at 0.83%. However, interesting enough, that is up year over year by 4%. Now, the total foreclosure sales, and this is, so many people get this wrong. All right, I hear people all the time saying there's 3 million, 2 million foreclosure houses for sale in 2010, in 2009. First of all, the home price decline happened in 08 and 09 before foreclosures even hit the market. So again, in the GFC, we had massive price decline before foreclosures actually hit the market. Don't forget that, you guys. A lot of people are going to manipulate you and say prices go down because there's no foreclosure crisis. But then again, it doesn't happen until after the recession. So stop putting the cart before the horse, bulls. But anyways, guys, we got 5,900 sales. That's not a lot. Now, the total number of properties with 30 days late or more, but are not in foreclosure is 1.6 1.65 million. So we have 1.65 million households, probably either an individual or a husband and wife or whatever, 1.65 million people who have no more purchasing power. Because remember, guys, just one late payment on your mortgage destroys your purchasing power. And in the GFC, one of the biggest problems on top of the bubble, on top of consumers not paying, was people's purchasing power was destroyed. And right now we see people's purchasing power being destroyed. Now, the number of properties that are seriously delinquent, and this is the real alarming group and category of people right here, this is the ones that are on the verge of losing everything, is sitting at 417,000 households. That's down month over month by 17,000, and that is down year over year by 84,000. Now, personally, I don't want to have a foreclosure crisis. I hope that they prevent foreclosure crisis, and because I know we could still have price discovery without a foreclosure crisis. I know that already. America needs to understand that. And again, I prefer that because I don't want people to lose their houses personally. Again, the anxiety, the depression, people on fixed income, single mothers, single fathers. It's just, I don't want to see people go through that. I don't think it's fair. Now, the number of properties in foreclosure pre-sale inventory. So these are the homes that are fixing to come to the market to be sold. So we got another 200,000 units come into the market to be sold, which is about 22% of total inventory. So again, if we had a flood of 200,000 units hit the market, that would be an increase of a little over 20% of active inventory. In other words, you guys, if just a small number of those properties comes to the market, it's game over in those metro areas. They will be flooded with inventory because we don't need a lot of inventory to have hypersupply. We don't need a lot. We just need about 200, 300,000 actually. Now, the total number of properties that are 30 days or more past due or in foreclosure is sitting at 1.857 million households. Again, no more purchasing power. We got 2 million people, no more purchasing power. We got handcuffed people. We got people late on credit cards. We got consumers and citizens right now completely falling apart. We know that. It's just, unfortunately, there's too much inflation and we have to go through quantitative tightening. Now, take a look at the top 5 states of non-current percentage. Number one's Mississippi, usual suspect, sitting at a whopping 7.48%. In fact, that whole area, you guys, is like the top 3 states in the nation for distress, and they're all next to each other. Number 2, look at Louisiana, sitting at 7.2% delinquency. That's a lot. Alabama, non-current, is 5.3%. Again, insane, a lot. Arkansas, 4.79%. Now, if you look to the right here, you see the peak. Even though those are elevated, look at some of these peaks, okay? Look at Louisiana. Louisiana peaked at 30% in October of 2005. 1 out of 3 people with a mortgage were in default. So we got room to go here. There's this pain that we're feeling right now, you guys. This is my point. It's nothing. We haven't really even experienced the real bad pain yet. The real bad pain is not even here yet. When we enter recession, it's going to be here and people will be aware because people that and hopefully it won't be you, but people will be losing their jobs with an inability to get a new job. Now, surprisingly, the bottom states are West Coast states that I still don't get this. But anyways, guys, the number one best state is actually Colorado, sitting at only 1.8% delinquency. Number 2 is Washington at 1.89, go figure. Idaho, do you see what I mean? All West Coast at 1.92. And then we have Montana at 1.94. And then Oregon at 2.02. So no more California. California used to be on this list. It is no longer on that list. So again, looking at that information alone, you don't really see any crisis happening, which kind of makes sense because most people, as long as you bought before 2022, have equity. And before they lose their house, if they have equity, they're going to do a cash out refinance. In fact, we see cash out refinances exploding. People are trading in 2-3% interest rates to 6% interest rates. But my point in telling you all this is don't be fooled by that information. Don't think that everything is okay because the problem is, guys, is it's not. And again, the pain hasn't even started. Let me show you what it will look like. Now, this is foreclosure inventory. And what I want to point out is, again, this is normal. We don't have real bad stuff happening until after recession. So when people compare what's going on right now to 2008, you can't. You can't do that because in 2008, we were in recession. And so you can't do that right now. But right now, as far as inventory, right? Because ultimately, why do we talk about foreclosures? Purchasing power being wiped out is why I talk about it, but people talk about it because of inventory coming to the market. And right now, here's where we're at. All right. That's where we're at. We're super low. I'm acknowledging it. We have super low foreclosure inventory. Again, people have equity. There were still the moratoriums. This makes sense. But I don't want you guys to be confused. We were also right there, right before we went into recession, into the GFC. So what I'm saying is, if you were trying to see whether or not we were going to go into the great financial crisis and you were looking at foreclosure inventory, you would not be able to see the incoming crisis. You would not be able to see it because, again, back in 2007, we had numbers kind of as low as they are right now. But when that recession happens, okay, it blows up. Why? Why does this go up like this during recession? Because people lose their jobs, okay? It's all about people paying their bills. And in order for people to pay their bills, either the government has to give them money or they have to work. And most people have to work. And that's what I'm saying. If you really want to look at something, and it's not just the yield curve inversion, which is actually a really good set of data, look at the lack of income growth. And what I'm going to do, you guys, is I'm going to show you guys now income growth versus home price growth. And we're also going to compare that to the great financial crisis. Now, let's start with year over year. And then I'm going to go to the 5-year, and then I'm going to go to 10-year. And you guys are going to see exactly what I'm saying. And then after that, we'll go into the new leading indicators. So here's where I want to start. This is year over year home price growth versus income growth. And what I did is I've circled this 4 years right here. This is the GFC. And what you're seeing is home price growth in blue, and you're seeing income growth in black. And the reason why I circled those 4 years, okay, so that first 4 years, is pay attention to house growth versus income growth for those 4 years. Essentially, home prices went up, skyrocketed up. You see that here, skyrocketing up. But look it, there was almost no income growth whatsoever. So during the GFC, we had a massive run up in home prices, but we had almost no income growth. Now, people love to compare the 70s and 80s because in the 70s and 80s, they had massive home value growth. You see that right here. But what I always try to explain to people, I mean, look at that house price growth right there. That is massive house price growth. But what was that accompanied by? It was accompanied by income growth. Do you see that? And it was because of this income growth that people could afford to pay those prices in the 70s and in the 80s. But again, fast forward to the GFC, we did not have that type of income growth. Now, fast forward to 2020 and 2021. Look at this, guys. Okay. So we had the same amount of equity run up that we did in the 4 years of the GFC. But look at that first year of run up. Okay. So this first year of run up, incomes went down. They did not go up. Now look at the second year of run up. The second year of run up was the fastest surge of home price growth in the history of the housing market. Okay, so the fastest growth in 1 year we've ever had, and look at the income growth. There was essentially no income growth whatsoever. So again, what I'm trying to do is show you the similarities from the GFC and the 70s and 80s to right now, and we can really pinpoint income growth. But let me show you this in a different way. Let's look at it over a half a decade period. Now, this is very interesting stuff here, you guys. Okay, so now we've gone out of the year and we've stacked it into half decades. So every 5 years, we're looking at home price growth and income growth. And again, going back to the 70s, yes, I will acknowledge in the 70s, we had massive home price growth. Look at that. We had about, 65% home price growth right there. You see that? So again, 1975 to the end of 1979, massive home price growth, which again, though, was accompanied by 40% income growth. So yeah, about 65% house growth, but we had about 40% income growth. And then the next part of the decade right here, and this again is why prices sustained in the 70s and 80s. Income growth exceeded, guys, income growth exceeded Home price growth. Do you see that black line? That's what I'm like. I'm yelling till I'm blue in the face. You guys, you can't compare the 70s and 80s. We have to take into consideration the income. We have to take into consideration the consumer, the citizen. They were in way better shape. Okay. Do y'all understand that? Now let's look at the GFC. Okay. Let's look at this. The first part of that decade, from the year of 2000 to 2004, look at what happened. Look at what happened. Young adults back then also had the opportunity to purchase robbed from them, just like Gen Zs have right now. Again, old millennials had the same thing happen to them back in the GFC that Gen Z is having right now. You can see that here. We had home price growth for those years of about 50%. Meanwhile, income growth was less than 10. Do y'all see that? That was during the GFC. That's exactly almost identical to what has happened right now. Look at this. What happened right now almost matches what happened during that first 5 years of 2000 to 2004. Do you see that? But here's what's interesting, guys. Look at what happened the second part of the decade. It corrected and crashed. Do you see that? It corrected and crashed from 2005 to 2009. Again, income outpaced home values. You saw that here in 1980 and 1984, and you saw that here in 2005 to 2009. And so, when we come back to the present time, what do you guys think is going to happen from 2025 to 2029? Odds are we're going to see something similar to what happened right here, where home price goes down as income catches up. But I'm going to make this a little bit easier. And let me show you guys now the 10-year projection. This gets a lot easier when I just put the 10-year. Take a look. So when we look at the 10-year, it's clear as day. When we look at this, it's undisputable. Again, if we're just looking at this data, we already know what's going to happen next, guys. We already know. So let's look at the 1980s. Again, this is a 10-year history. This is why in the 1980s, home values were able to explode and sustain. In that entire decade, okay, the entire decade, income outpaced home value. So you cannot compare the 1980s to what's going on right now. You can say that the home price growth, yes, it was similar, but the consumer and citizen was not. Look at that. Income growth exceeded home price growth, okay? Now, take a look at this, guys. The collapse. Look at the collapse. Look at this. Okay, so this is when we had the GFC. The GFC, when you look at the entire 10 years, the second half of 2000s corrected. It shifted these dynamics. Do you see that? It shifted those dynamics to get closer to income growth. I mean, the same thing here, guys. Look at in the 1990s. In the 1990s, income exceeded home price growth. So 1980s income exceeded home price growth. 1990s income exceeded home price growth. But we get to the 2000s and home price growth exceeded income growth, and we had a great financial crisis. Now in 2010, that is close, with home values exceeding income slightly, ever so slightly, but in the norms. But look at when we get here, again, you guys, we're looking at the last 50 years. Come on, guys. Do you like this info? Give me a bonkers below. Share the video, hit like, comment. Do y'all see this? Look at the difference now. The difference is astronomical. Home price growth is way more than income growth. And I believe this is nominal. I think when we adjust for inflation, this looks a lot worse. It looks a lot worse for what's going on right now. But this is my point, okay? The second half of the 2020s is going to reverse this trend. Home values will go down as income catches up, as it always does. I mean, was that not cool or what? That's why I'm always like income, right? Inventory, income, so important. Also location, also you being empowered. But I'm going to show you guys one new leading indicator that I haven't gone over with you. Actually, it's two leading indicators that is saying that we are headed right into recession. Literally, we are headed into recession. Let me show you guys what's called U3, or rather unemployment. So let me start by showing you the normal unemployment trend. Take a look. Now, what I want you guys to notice, and here's the indicator here, okay, is the trend of unemployment. So right now you can see where we're at, okay? Unemployment is finally trending upward. And I also want to point out over the last 15 years, so going back to right here to about 2010, unemployment has only gone down in the last 15 years. It is very rare for unemployment to go up. It freaks out our officials because once it starts, it's uncontrollable and it always leads to recession. Let's look at the GFC and let me show you. I'm going to zoom in here. You see that here in the GFC. You see this little trend right here going up. And then obviously here's the recession. So my point is, the last recession was the only time, again, that unemployment went up. But when we go to the dot-com bubble, which is right here, okay, look at unemployment only went up when we started entering recession. The recession is right here. Do y'all see what I'm saying? So again, in the last, how many years did we go back so far? In the last 25 years, we've gone into recession 100% of the time when unemployment has gone up. All right, so let's go to the 1990s recession right here. Okay, so the same thing in the 1990s recession, unemployment started going up. See that? Now the recession's right here. Now this is the only period, okay, where unemployment kept going up after recession. All right, again, this is the only period where unemployment went up after recession. But again, look at unemployment only goes up when we're going into recession. You see that here as well. See? It goes up. Here's the recession. Same thing right here. It goes up into recession. You guys, the trajectory is vital to understand because the trajectory tells us, are things getting better? Are things getting worse? What's the current state of the labor market? And right now, the current state is we're heading into recession. And the same thing holds true for U6. Now, U6 unemployment is underemployment. So people that are not making enough money. Take a look at this. So here's our U6. And again, look at it. It's been going up. See that? So U6 is going up. So let's zoom into some of these recessions. I'm not really going to count the lockdown, but although it did go up into recession on the lockdown, it really doesn't kind of count. Let's go into the GFC. So you can see in the GFC, okay, it started going up and then we entered recession and it skyrocketed. Okay. But my point is when it started going up, we were in recession shortly after. Look at same thing right here. See, it starts going up when we entered recession. But the entire time before that, look at it's going down. Entire time before this, look, it's going down. Unemployment, U3, U6, it goes down, you guys. It only goes up again when we're going into recession. Let me show you guys 1990. Okay, well, I can't show you guys 1990. This is all allowed. But again, I mean, those are pretty clear indicators. Again, we go back 50 years. We go back further than that. But it's easy to see, right? Now, I understand it's hard to see because the headlines, because there's not people on mainstream media, which talks to most of civilians. They're not talking about this. They're not pulling out the charts. They're not saying, look at when this goes up, this is what happens. They're not doing that. So I hope you guys are learning. I hope you guys are getting it. And what I really want you to take away from all of the stuff that I just reported is that if you are on the sideline, continue to be patient. It has never been a more important time to save your money and to save your money right now because you could become a winner on the other side of this. We have a high probability of getting the home of our dreams at an affordable price so long as we are preparing right now and are not caught up in the inflation. Okay, it's very, very hard. I know that, but I hope you guys are doing it. You're not alone. You're very important. Make great decisions. And other than that, if you're out there investing in real estate, you guys already know I wish you luck and I hope you win.